This is the kick drum of your currently #1 song in Cartoons.
619 with our friend DJB.
Okay, and today, this date, it's the
23.
Okay, the 23rd of April, and your song
is first. 619 is first on the Cartoons,
so people have a timestamp of when, what song we're talking about. And you're currently showing us how to, what layers this kick drum exists out of, and you're working from within Cubase 10.5. Cubase Pro 10.5. Okay.
Yeah, the red part is the 619 kicks. We divided in 3 ways because the kicks came from other project. Then in the new Cubase,
you can import a single chain from other project into a new one.
Yeah,
and so we take the 3 layers from the original project and import them in this new one.
From the looks of things, I see a single talk layer, a noise layer.
There's a talk, a punch, and a tail with the.
Obviously, it's like the common ingredients. But you know, for people that are new to kick drum design,
this is the main layering stuff. But you can do everything you want. There's not a rule.
Can you let us hear the individual layers?
For sure. Yeah. Maybe someone can see that the tail is put together the punch, but it's not because there is an LFO on the volume.
Yeah.
And it's the tail basically is cut like this.
Smoothly.
Okay, smoothly. But the kick, we removed the first tail for make something different. Like exactly. Sorry. Okay, this kick is the same, but it's it's just move the LFO on the filter bank. It's just move. For example, I don't remember now. All automation. It's here. You know, the first kick is on the 50%, for example, and the second part is 0%. Then you make a move on the tail of the kick.
Yeah, so that you get more drive.
It's a little bit different.
Can you show us the individual layers and what kind of effects you have on them?
Okay.
And just let them hear us how they sound without the effects and now with the effects.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Okay, basically on the talk and the punch, we don't have nothing on the chain, but it's all on the tail because we want to change the tail as first. But we have a bus where talk, punch, and tail go inside, and we process the sound.
So that's what we see there in the blue. That's the chain.
Yeah, that's the chain. We use anyway a B control for I don't remember, but I think for mono. Cut the mono. Yeah, the mono. 300 hertz. It's totally mono.
Yeah.
Okay. And we use a Pro Q for make something on the lower end. Before then go inside a filter bank.
Yes.
Because inside the distortion. We use 2 different filter banks, but he works in separate.
I think you mostly use the left corner part of the filter bank, right?
Yeah, we use this one. Use this one.
Only that.
And the LFO.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
also that. Yeah, it's
just for a little bit modulation.
Give a really nice character there.
Exactly. As I told you, if you see the LFO, we changed it to part. And now it's not this one. Sorry.
It's the second one.
Yeah, it's the
because it go on bypass.
It's this one. Okay. One. It's the one put on the tail. I think this one. Yeah. It's low. Okay. Just look. He changed the move, the tail,
the movement.
So, and after this one, there comes another filter bank.
Yeah, because in the bus where all three sounds go inside. We have another filter bank because we change from 1 to 2, from the first to the second.
Yeah.
Because the second kick is totally different. This is the tail, and we make this tail from another kick into contact. That we put the speed of contact totally on 0, I think, on 0. That he repeat the kick into infinity time.
Ah, right. Yes.
So we make the.
So you get the
makes
loop
the typical
on the
sound.
tail.
Exactly.
Okay, and so the first effect on the tail is
It's a Pro Q that we cut the
low
third,
end?
the low end, and we make a notch here.
all right.
On the 67 hertz in this case, and the second effect is another Pro Q that he makes something
with automation on changing the
Okay, that's,
kick,
is there a specific reason why you add two Pro Qs behind each other rather than doing the same thing in the same?
Yeah, because this is with an automation, and when the kick change because change the equalization before.
Okay.
So
and
with the first kick, this is bypassed, and then later
I
the track will
understand.
change.
You have more freedom.
some more
like this.
variation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm the third one in the chain.
Yeah.
Is the distortion?
I start to hear it right away.
The fourth is basically a gate for
cutting this noise.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
Okay, and
that is another filter bank, or well, because I didn't see anything pop up now.
no, the other filter bank is on the bus.
Okay, yeah, that's not what I mean, but yeah, okay. So now the fifth effect would be...
The fifth is LFO.
LFO to shaping the tail
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
just after the punch. So
Yeah,
the punch
yeah.
sound and later.
Basically a taking from the
tail.
punch.
Okay.
Okay. And this one, I don't know why he's here, but I think was useful. And
It's just a utility for
exactly,
the volume.
just for the volume.
Okay.
I think for go inside the bus at minus 10 dB, then 0
All right.
for the limiter and stuff like that.
So this utility is like, it's a compressor?
no,
it's like
it's
only
just
a
a
gain.
Again.
To
Oh,
reduce
it's just gain.
the
Just
distance.
gain.
Yeah.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Then the punch and the torque.
And the tail goes into
The punch and the torque don't have nothing into the chain.
So the punch and the torque do not have any effects, but
Nothing.
they together with the tail go into a bus.
Into
Yeah.
a
And
bus.
that bus has
This process with
another
the-
chain of
yeah.
effects.
Exactly. Yes. In this process, we have a BX control that cut all.
put all the frequencies
Everything below 300 hertz goes to
in
mono.
Yeah.
Goes to mono.
Okay.
Then I have another fab filter. This is totally for make the harmonics of the kicks.
Before
and,
compressed.
before the distortion. We changed the filters before the distortion.
Okay.
We have the distortion, another one,
Another
the filter bank, and we have another filter bank that is alternate from part 1 and part 2 because it's totally the same kick in the first part and the second part.
So when the second
because,
filter bank is on, the first filter bank is off.
and you will have a different kick.
Okay.
I have another gate for the same reason of the noise. This time we use the standard
Basic
Cubase
Okay.
gate.
But doesn't matter, every gate.
Yeah. I use this Pro Q for cut the harsh frequency in the high end and the low frequency, low end frequency, and a little boost on the. I think here is the 36 hertz. Yeah.
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 36, something like that.
Yeah, 56.
Yeah, and just it's basically a resonance, a little bit of a resonance,
Yes.
and it's something like an equalization, and that's
Just to give more bases when you cut below 37
Exactly.
hertz.
So we use a UAD LA2A for compression, and that in this way I use the emphasis totally on the left, in this case, And you can use also a CLA of waves. It's the same thing.
All right.
Yeah, but as true character.
In this time we use a Manley as equalizer, but just for the bass, just for the 33 Hz. Another stuff for the sub bass. We exaggerate with the bass because after that we go to compress the bass stuff, and just for make more powerful sub bass, more powerful bass for the tracks, and
also because the Manley is an emulation of a real equalizer, so it gives a particular saturation sound.
yeah, he's a tube equalizer too, and we use this one as a limiter, as first limiter, because it's not a limiter, it's a clipper.
Okay.
And,
It also add some drive.
and soft clip saturation is after this one that is a soft clipper. We go into
Only two effects.
exactly
Okay,
all
great.
last bus that we put basically a reverb for make rooms on my kick. Yeah.
Okay.
But really short. And
Really short. It's something like decay time is 0.5. So
Okay.
it's
But
very
we do
very
it at 12%, so basically you can't hear it.
Yeah, it's just maybe if you listen really carefully on a
Yeah, yeah.
headphone, you will
we
hear
listen
it.
it to more wide, but
exactly. So
Okay,
for the room,
okay.
another standard clipper that it's the same of the old one, and as a last a limiter.
All right.
Pro too.
Exactly, but in this way it's to zero because we now in this case I don't know why it's because it's on automation, but because we after because all the effects are pre fader, not post fader. So if we put a Pro L pre fader, we can pull down pull down the fader of kicks, of the last kick, of the last bus
Yeah.
on -10, and that's it.
Okay. Well, I hope the people back home understand it. I guess they will eventually.
Yeah, it's I know that the kick is the hardest part to learn.